Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge, Yap, Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time.
Hey Yappers! Today we're going to be discussing the first episode of Black Mirror Season 7. If you haven't watched Black Mirror before, this show is an anthology show, so every episode is for the most part standalone. Each episode has some element of the wrong side of technology, like what could go wrong if we went too far with technological advances, that kind of thing. And the show is called Black Mirror because when a screen is turned off, it resembles a black mirror. So to set the stage, we're doing a series of mini-sodes for the entirety of the 7th season of Black Mirror. And today we're going to start with the first episode, which is called Common People. And this episode is about a working class couple, Amanda and Mike Waters, played by Rashida Jones and Chris O'Dowd, who are looking to start a family. But when Amanda falls into a coma, her husband decides to move forward with this life-saving procedure that he's been advertised that seems a little too good to be true. So Ruchi, what were your overall thoughts?
This episode kind of felt like old Black Mirror. There were a couple different episodes in season 6 that kind of felt more like supernatural rather than tech dystopia. And so this kind of felt back to the old roots of Black Mirror, where it was very much like, this is a thing that could potentially happen, especially with the way that subscription services are happening now. Like Netflix recently increased their prices yet again. So it feels like everything is just getting more and more expensive. And so I definitely felt that like panicky, like, oh shit, this could actually happen. And so I was kind of like pleasantly surprised to see that kind of like going back to its roots in this season.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It very much reminded me of season 1, episode 3, The Entire History of You, about that couple that you could like replay your memories inside your head, and it causes problems for that one couple because he reads into everything and like replays it in his head. It kind of reminded me of that theme of like, it's realistic if you believe in the technology, and it's also like telling a human story in this new imagined world. It was very reminiscent of early Black Mirror. That supernatural one you were talking about, I think that was like episode 5, Demon 79. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that one. I mean, we don't need to get into it, but yeah, I thought that one was so weird. I was like, why is this a Black Mirror episode? This has nothing to do with technology.
It's a cool story, I guess, and love that it features a brown woman, but also question mark. Yeah, like, is this still Black Mirror, or is this like Stranger Things Black Mirror crossover? Like, what is this?
But yeah, I really liked this episode. I love Rashida Jones, and I thought it was perfectly eerie in what companies could do to price gouge us and just get us hooked into a model and then force us to pay more and more and more to keep up with whatever we require of them. And yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Rashida Jones from Parks and Rec, though. After I watched this episode, I had messaged you about this. After I watched the episode, I was like, I need to go watch Parks and Rec to like confirm that Rashida Jones is alive and well as Anne in Parks and Rec.
Yes, I also watched Parks and Rec after finishing this episode.
Yeah, very bleak. And then Chris O'Dowd from IT Crowd.
Oh, I know him from Bridesmaids. That's what I
Oh.
recognized him from.
The ending was quite bleak. Actually, I wanted to talk about the ending. So
Okay.
he killed himself, right? Because the ending was like he looked at the camera and he had like a razor blade in his hand.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's also how I interpreted it. That
So he
yeah,
like,
he like took the razor and just cut himself.
I
I don't
guess,
know.
yeah. And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, maybe that's how he got the money to fund the 30 minutes of Lux or whatever.
Oh, by cutting himself?
No, by promising to kill himself on camera. That's how he got the money. That's how I interpreted it, right?
Oh, interesting. I did not interpret it that way. Well, I just thought he was so depressed that he wanted to kill himself. But
Yeah.
maybe that too. Maybe he was like, okay, I don't even care anymore.
I mean, like after you kill the your wife who you love so much, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah,
You know, you
right.
kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, like, okay, even obviously this technology is going wrong, but it is extending her life. They do have way more time than they did previously. So what's the catch? But I guess that's the catch is that it drove him insane also. He just couldn't live with it.
Yeah, and it's never ending, and it's always just going to get more and more expensive.
Yeah.
Well, but also, okay, speaking of expensive, I was actually curious about the prices they chose for this, like the values of things. So when we first see Dumb Dummies, that guy is drinking his own pee for 20 bucks. And I think I was like, that is such a low amount to drink your pee for. But then at the same time, they were like, oh, this is a subscription service. It's only $300 a month. And then I was like, uh, like, okay, that does seem cheaper than I thought. But then I was wondering, like, if you honestly add like a zero to everything, maybe this is just how bad inflation has gotten over the past couple of years that I'm like, okay, drinking pee for $200, like maybe that makes sense. And then like saving, like extending your wife's life by a month with this like brain like changing thing for $3,000 a month. That kind of seemed
Mm,
reasonable to me. But then I was like, am I just so out of touch with reality that like this is how bad inflation's gotten? And like I'm just adding zeros to everything because anything for $20 just seems like unobtainable. Like you can't
right.
do anything with 20 bucks nowadays, I feel.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the Dumb Dummies prices for things or what they were advertising for. I was like, why are you putting your tongue in a mousetrap for $90? I would do that for $10,000 probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I do, okay, I guess on that side, yes, I totally agree. On the subscription for the standard Rivermind, or was it standard or was it the common? I guess the common
They
level.
changed it.
Yeah, standard slash common. I thought 300, it is cheap, it's affordable, but I thought that made sense as a starting price because I guess I was thinking about it in terms of rent. This couple clearly isn't super wealthy. I was guessing that they're probably paying like around 1,000 to 2,000 in total rent, kind of barely making ends meet. 300 seemed like just enough to make them stretch their budget. So writing wise, I thought that made sense. And then when they're like, oh, it's an additional 800 or whatever, I was like, okay, I can see how that would drive him to do some crazy things. So that made sense to me. But Dumb Dummies prices were crazy. But maybe that was also kind of a commentary on how desperate people can be for money. And yeah, I can sit here and say that I wouldn't do that mousetrap thing in my tongue for less than 10,000, but like I obviously have the luxury to choose that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, the prices were the Dumb Dummies prices. I thought they were unrealistic. It should have been at least 200 for that or something, you know. Like show that it's at least it's gonna like make a dent in this debt that you owe this company.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, maybe they were trying to make a point that it's like, this is how desperate you have to be to go on this site, but also prices have to be low enough for the average person to also want you to do it.
Right.
Nobody's going to be like, you know what I want to do today? spend $10,000 so that someone can
Yeah, so
therapy,
true.
you know? 'Cause I guess also we know that the other construction dude was definitely like a viewer of these things.
Mhm.
So he probably also doesn't have that much money to spare. So it's like
True.
the poor crowdfunding the poor, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really sad. Yeah. The other thing, and maybe this is very capitalist of me because I work for a big corporation and I have sold my soul to this big corporation. But I was like, why doesn't she just get a job at Rivermind?
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Like doing what? I mean, she's an educator,
I mean, she could like
but
educate people, get more people to do Rivermind, like basically what their Rivermind
oh, like be a marketer or a salesperson for Rivermind?
Yeah, because I mean, there aren't that many people who need Rivermind services, but also as a result, there aren't that many people who have had Rivermind services, right? So
Mhm.
maybe she could have been the representative of Rivermind, like gotten a job there. And then this is where Black Mirror comes in. Rivermind creates a cult following of all of the people who have had Rivermind subscriptions and controls their brain.
Oh, like hive mind.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't think about that. That, yeah, they totally could have done that. They just like take over her body and take over her mind and like she doesn't
Yeah.
even know what happened. Yeah. Whoa.
Exactly, because they can do that with like their ad tier.
Okay. That was a theory I saw on Severance that in James Egan's like ultimate goal is to control the population so that on the drop of a dime he can turn everyone into their innies and control what they do. So that's interesting. That reminds me of Severance.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, I did watch a little more of Black Mirror, so there were a couple episodes that actually reminded me of Severance. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? There are no bees in this future world. Did you catch that?
Yeah, the ADIs. I forgot what ADI stands for, but yeah, they're the
Right.
robot bees.
Yeah, I don't know did they explain it?
They did, but I'm forgetting what it was.
If I had to guess, it would be autonomous drone insect.
I think that is what it was.
Yeah, I was kind of sad. I was
Crazy.
like,
I
oh
know.
no, no bees. Sad.
I just wanted to talk about their love story a little bit.
Okay.
Like they first show that it's their third anniversary and they like go to this lodge and it's the same lodge they go to every year for their anniversary and they get the same burger every year and they like see the same performers and it was so cute and they were so happy.
Yeah.
And then you just like slowly see that happy bubble like slowly decreasing and decreasing over time, which was so depressing.
Yeah, it was so sad. Also, the fact that they did that anniversary thing ironically, and it was a funny thing for them to do. Go to this random
Yeah.
German themed place and then like eat a terrible burger. And it
Uh-huh.
was like reminiscent of their first date or something, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, something like that.
And it was so sad that like when they went, when she was on Rivermind Lux and her pleasure was turned all the way up, that he was like, this isn't the same. Like we could
Yeah.
like we're it's not ironic anymore.
Yeah. He was like, please, please stop. He couldn't even continue having sex with her.
Yeah. But also like turn the pleasure down.
Yeah.
It's a remote, right?
He did try. He tried to tell her, I think we should tone it down a little bit, literally. Please
Literally.
tone it down. And she was like, no, not yet. He
Oh
was like,
yeah,
oh
true.
no.
Oh God. Yikes.
Yeah.
Would you want a remote like that for your normal, like, no subscription model or anything necessary, but just like in general, would you want that kind of remote?
No, man. I feel like that's messing with like serotonin levels too much. Like I'm too scared to ever do Molly for that same reason. Like I cannot have a remote control to control my emotions. I feel
Yeah.
like that'll mess things up too much. I mean, maybe in this world, if I'm already on borrowed time and I'm basically turning into a robot, maybe, but but
Yeah.
not right now if I had the choice.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be useful in certain situations, but only when you're experiencing like if your emotions are like outside a normal level, right? Like let's
Mm-hmm.
say for example you're experiencing like a lot of anxiety or like you have like a panic attack or something. Like I think in those cases it would be good to be like this is like the EpiPen for emotions, you know?
Yeah.
Like once I'm experiencing a reaction like this, like please press this button to like get me to a safe level. Like I
Mm,
think that would be cool, but yes, I agree. It must be like extreme cases only, but definitely not on a normal basis.
yeah.
But yeah, when at the very end, when they show her turning the serenity all the way up, I'm like, I feel so relaxed. I would love to be that serene.
Uh, and the fact, oh yeah, I thought it was interesting that she made the decision to end her life at her peak serene state.
Oh,
That's when it dawned on her. She's like, okay, I'm 100% at peace right now. I'm ready to go. And it
yeah.
wasn't when she was depressed or when she was super tired. It was when she was serene.
Yeah, that's so true. She's like, I'm not doing this because I want to like give up or anything. Like I just think that, this is the best thing to do for both of us
Yeah,
for our marriage.
it's
That was
time.
so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also the fact that I feel so bad for him that he kind of like was forced to kill her while she was doing the ad and stuff. Like when
That
he was
was
not there. But
crazy. Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I thought it was gonna be like they were gonna take her in and cancel the subscription. Why couldn't they have done that? What would happen if they just
yeah.
canceled the subscription?
Yeah,
I don't know
cancel
why
the
he had to
subscription and plug or
smother
something.
her.
Maybe because it would have resulted in more hospital bills or something if they canceled the
Oh,
subscription and then she had to like go back to the hospital or
it would just return her to a coma, but not actually kill her.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm assuming, but yeah, so sad.
Oh, so
God.
sad. Damn, that first episode really got me.
Yeah. I was like, I hope the rest of this season isn't like this because I feel like in so many ways we're living in a dystopia right now that I'm like, I can't handle any sad stuff, to be honest. We are already living in a tech dystopia. Of rising subscription prices,
Yeah.
unable to afford basic things like eggs. And also, I don't know, the fact that tech companies are doing this thing where they are releasing newer features and newer models of things, but then those newer models are more expensive. But as a result, like your current tech piece of technology is becoming outdated and not even
Yeah.
outdated, just like unusable.
The one parallel I can think of is that Apple, I think they stopped doing this because they got caught, but Apple was artificially ruining the batteries of their iPhones if they were more than 2 years old or something, so that people would be forced to buy new ones. I don't know if they still do that. My phone battery definitely does get worse after the first 2 or 3 years,
Yeah. I mean,
but that
I
might be just natural.
I do think, yeah, I mean, you probably know more about this than I do coming from a Mackie background, but yeah, I think from an engineering perspective, I do see how obviously the older model, especially when it comes to tech, is not going to be able to run all of the cool features, especially like the AI features that people are putting out now. But at the
Hmm.
same time, it is a little unfair that people are forced to accept that software update. Like,
Yeah.
there should be some way of having to stay on the same OS or like you must remain backwards compatible for X many years, like
Yeah.
compatible for at least 10 years. I think like that would
Totally.
be a good regulation actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be like a great sustainability move too.
Yeah, true. Especially with rare earth materials from China becoming heavily taxed.
If you were given the choice to engage with this technology, or I guess if you were put in this position where you had the option to use this technology or not, what would you do?
Oh, honestly, like I don't think it's really up to me. Or are you asking like if I were in Rashida Jones' position or
Oh,
if I were in Chris O'Dowd's position?
guess since he was the one that made the decision, I guess if you're in Chris O'Dowd's position.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that they're preying on is that obviously anyone, when forced with the choice of loved one alive and conscious or in a
Yeah.
coma forever, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna choose the alive and conscious one, like no matter what. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they made any illogical or irrational choices, which is
Totally. But I
yeah.
guess knowing what you know now, would you do it?
Knowing what I know now, I mean, yeah, but that's also like really coming from a place of privilege, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can afford $300 a month. And so, like, yeah, I would absolutely do that. And I would probably do Lux too. Like, I would
Yeah.
do whatever it took to like keep this person in my life alive as
Yeah.
long as possible. But yeah, I mean, if I were in a position where I could not afford that,
How
I don't
many
know.
mouse traps would you put on your tongue?
That's the other thing. I don't think I would resort to dumb dummies.
Yeah.
I would make a play for Rivermind. I would be like, okay, how about this? Employ me. I'll do a podcast for you. I'll be like a content creator for Rivermind. If you like give me a discount or if you give me like a free like Rivermind subscription and
Yeah.
I would probably do that. But I think yeah, I would not drink my pee, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. Or if you did, you would charge way more than $20.
Yeah, I would charge way more than $20.
I think I'm the same, and I also recognize that that's coming from a place of privilege. I would definitely choose to still engage with the technology. So, I mean, I guess there's a market for this, for that company. Rivermind, it's a good
Like, that's
business model, but
yeah. Like that's kind of how Netflix is doing their subscription pricing and how they're like increasing
that is
their
true.
So Black Mirror once again coming for Netflix.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah. Every
Interesting.
tech company when they have a subscription, they assume that they're going to get some percentage of attrition, but then they do a lot of financial modeling and forecasting and everything to make sure that no matter how much they increase the price by, even if they increase the price and they lose some percentage of users, as long as it still works out in their favor, then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just a number, right? Like
Yeah,
number must be greater than this previous number. That's it. That's all
totally.
they're optimizing for. So I actually really like this episode where it's kind of shedding a light of that user attrition that you have. What if it were not just, oh, you can't watch Netflix anymore? It's like, oh, you can't live anymore.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Netflix is a good example, especially when they stopped allowing people in multiple households to use the same account. Um, yeah,
Um,
that's a good example. The other parallel I could think of was like apartment buildings charging more and more for rent every year, way above inflation, and just betting on the fact that you probably don't want to move. That kind of reminds me of that where they're like, I probably don't want to move. Like, we'll just up their rent by 10% and see what happens.
Yeah, and then you get rent control and housing laws and stuff. But
Mhm.
it's unfortunate that all of this stuff has some latency effect, you know? Something really, really bad happens that is forcing people to abandon their way of life. And then
Yeah.
maybe 2 to 3 years later, minimum, then there's some regulation that comes along that's like, oh, actually, this is kind of fucked up. We should fix this. And then it has to go to county level, state level, then national level, and then it can all be fixed. But then by the time all of that happens, so many people have been affected.
Suffer. Yeah,
Yeah.
so many people suffer in the meantime.
Anyway, I just think we need more young people in government. And also tech needs to be more regulated.
This episode got very political. Okay, last thing, and I guess we'll see if it continues, but getting a little bit into episode 2, my sister actually noticed when we were watching that the company in episode 2 was one of the advertisements that I was going to call her Ann Perkins, that Rashida Jones makes in episode 1. It was like the Dita Foods or whatever.
That is so cool. What a great Easter egg.
Yeah, I know. I guess we'll see in future episodes because we have not watched past episode 2 as of this moment. So we'll see if that trend continues. I think that would be really fun if every episode references one of the companies that Rashida Jones blabbed when she was in Riverside Standard Plan. But
Yeah. I think the only one that I really remember is Honey Nugs. So I guess I'll keep an eye out for Honey Nugs.
Honey Nugs. Oh, and the Christian council.
Yeah, and the Christian one.
And Thirst Trap Lube. Can't forget Thirst Trap Lube.
Oh, yeah. What would you rate this episode?
I would rate this episode probably an 8 out of 10. What I love about Black Mirror, I'd say Black Mirror in general is kind of hit or miss for me. The episodes I love, I really love, and the episodes I dislike, I'm like, this was a waste of time. So I would say this one was one that I really loved. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5 just because I did really like it, but then the ending, I was like, I'm so sad now. So I would give it 7.5 just because of my own inability to regulate my emotions. It's really a me problem.
Fair enough.
Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, find us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging!